Only people who can record other than Hammond Communications are team videographers and CBS Turner embedded groups. And CBS Turner does have a group embedded with BYU, so they will be here during the BYU portion. Hammond Communications will post recordings of both of these press conferences at the NCAA's digital media hub, ncaa.veritone.com. There are QR codes on the door, on the tables, and also at the media materials area. And then transcripts for both of these press conferences will be provided by ASAP and be posted shortly after the conclusion. Locker rooms will be open once coach and players leave to come to the press conferences. They will close when the coach gets back to the press conference unless the school decides to keep it open longer. Quick note, the 26 three-pointers made by Alabama is an NCAA tournament record. Okay, we have Alabama, the advancing team. Up here on the podium, we have head coach Nate Oats, we have Mark Sears, we have Aiden Holloway, and we have Chris Youngblood. Alabama moves on to Saturday's Elite Eight game on Saturday. That will be at a time to be determined. We're going to open it with an opening statement from Coach Oats, then we will go to questions for the student athletes. We'll dismiss them and then take questions for Coach. So, Coach, if you want to start with an opening statement.
I mean, that was a fun game. If you like offense, that was fun for the fans, I'm sure, at least for the Alabama fans. And listen, I got to teach these guys some math occasionally. I told Sears there's a thing called regression to the mean. His last 6 games, he was shooting 14%, 5 of 35. He's not a 14% shooter, obviously. They had been going under ball screens on just about every game we watched. I told both those guys, Holloway and seriously, man, I hope they go under us, because we're going to rain them. So we were in the gym last night, the night before, but these guys show up for voluntary shooting every time it's available to make sure that they're ready to go and that work pays off. We want to base our program on hard work. So told Mark he's playing chess, not checkers. He just kind of set everybody up with that 5 of 35, thinking he was in a slump and he's going to come out, shoot like 63%, ain't bad. So 10 threes, I think first guy in NCAA tournament history, I was told, that had at least 8 threes and 7 assists. So, not only was he scoring it, he was moving it, helps to get assists when you get guys like CY and Aiden Holloway making shots like they did too. So between these three guys, we had 21 threes. It's, we've hit 22 before a couple times, I think maybe 23. We've never hit 25. So, and BYU with their personnel, we knew that they started going under, but they always collapse. I mean, they kind of have to, and they kind of got away with it against some teams that don't space like we do. But I told these guys going in, if you'll move the ball, we end up with 27 assists. I'm not sure where that ranks in tournament history, but if you'll move the ball, our offense is designed to beat a defense like this. So they're heavy in the gaps, they overhelp, and we did. So now they're a really good offensive team too. Everybody questioned whether we had defense to win. For some reason, nobody was talking about our offense though. Like, I've gotten to know Mike D'Antoni a little bit. He made the point, like, your offense only has to be, one point in the efficiency better than your defense to win the game. Now, we're trying to get stops, and I thought we did a pretty good job. They went on a run. I remember Sears got a steal, when they started to make a run there in the second half. It's a big play. We got a bunch of old boards, our second chance points. I thought we hit some threes off that. We gave them too many second chance, but we did hit some threes off it. So, it was good. We were able to rest some guy. Our top minute guy was Sears with just over 30, and then, nobody else. CY and Grant, 27 and 25. So, whoever we play, we were able to get these guys a little bit more rest than normal. So, proud of our guys. We're in the Elite Eight for the third time in school history and back-to-back. So, Sears has been in the middle of it. These two guys came to play with them, and they're unbelievable backcourt together. I thought LeBaron did a good job, moving the ball tonight too. He went 2 or 3 himself. He ended up with 6 assists. So I thought everybody played well in their roles tonight.
Start with questions for the student athletes. Raise your hand. We'll get a microphone. Give name and affiliation before asking your question. We'll start here in the front row. On this side.
Jackson Shanks, Seton Hall Center for Sport Media. Aiden, we talked yesterday about how you've matured through the tournament. Last year with Auburn, a first-round exit. This year, you hadn't really had the game that put you on the map. And today, whenever Mark went out in that second half, it almost like it lit a fire under you, and you were able to answer each BYU three with your own. What about tonight made you so successful and allowed you to perform at that level?
My teammates just found me, honestly. That's all I'll say about that. It was just a good game. My teammates found me, and I just tried to not focus on shot making and focus on everything else, and shot making ended up, working out a little bit. So just shout out to my teammates for finding me all game.
We're going to come to this side in row 2.
Mark Cannizzaro from the New York Post. This is for Mark. Did you feel, is it possible to feel a game like this coming for you, and what is the feeling like when they're just going down like that?
Honest, like Coach said, we've been working all week to prepare for to get our shot right, and it just the matter of preparation we put in, it led to the success we had tonight.
We're going to come to the front row in the middle.
Mark, or for any of the guys, but we'll start with Mark since you had the biggest night. When Coach says, "Hey, regression to the mean," hey, they're playing you, how much do you believe it? How much do you expect it, I guess, is the better word.
Yeah, even though when I was shooting 14%, my confidence was still high. I never stopped doubting myself and stopped believing in myself. And my teammates also, they kept encouraging me to keep shooting and keep shooting and keep shooting. And that's just showed trust in them that even though when I'm not at my highest peak, they still trust me and want me to shoot the ball. So, it's a big shout out to them. And, just they went under the ball screen, and I was able to get my rhythm early.
Chris, you also want to answer that question?
To be honest with you, before y'all talking about 14%, I had no idea who was shooting 14% because I never really paid attention to it. Mark's an incredible player, so all I know is when he gets the ball, the defense is collapsing on him, so it don't even feel like he's shooting 14%. But regardless if he is or not, his gravity that he has on the defense is, something I never played with before. So, yeah, you don't really realize he's shooting 14%.
Next 2 questions are right in front of me, row 3.
Guys, congratulations. Drew Wolin with NBA Draft Net. So I checked, this question's for anybody. I checked the stat sheet at halftime. 80% of field goal attempts were from 3. You guys slowed down a little bit in the second half. You finished the game, 77% of your field goal attempts were from 3. I went through your schedule, usually about a little less than half. Sometimes you go over half, like a couple more shots. What went into that tonight where 77% of your field goal attempts were coming from 3?
Why don't we start with Aiden and then we'll go to Chris.
I would say just for these two guys next to me, an open 3 is kind of a layup. So we're happy with 77% of our shots coming from 3 today. So.
Like Coach said to start off, the way they play defense, they're in the gaps heavy, and then if we have proper spacing, and if we don't take one dribble too much, or we're playing selfish, ready to move the ball, we're capable of having 80%, 77% percentage of our shots being 3s. So that's pretty simple.
Stay in that same row.
Matt Norlander, CBS Sports. Mark, this is for you, right here in front of you. I want to dig a little bit deeper. You made 10 three-pointers tonight. That's one shy of the NCAA tournament record. Could you just take us into what it feels like to play that well against a team that good on a stage this big? Are you physically conscious of what is happening as it continues to progress? Because it looked like you were in a zone and knew they were there for the killing.
Yeah, like you said, I was just in the zone. Once I seen the first 3 fall in, I felt like the basket was like big as an ocean. Every time I shot, I felt like it was going in. So yeah, I just lost myself in the game and just let everything else happen.
All right, we'll go one row back in row 4.
Hi, Garrett Lash with Mid-Major Madness. This one's for Chris. Chris, obviously, you got a great coach up here with you. You played 4 years before that under Coach Amir Abdur-Rahim, obviously. I know might be an emotional question, but what did he do to prepare you for this season, for this moment? Do you think about him when you're out there playing?
Probably the most important thing that I think about probably every practice, every game is, playing selfless. Not really, because, but previous 4 years, I was the main guy. So, I got talented players like Biz and Mark beside me. So really just being an ultimate team player, just not really worried about myself, playing within the flow of the game and just, losing yourself within the game, within the team. I might end up with 19 points, might end up with 5 points, but, as long as you get a win, I'm considered a winner.
We'll take one more question for the student athletes over here, Hoops, on this side.
Coach, everybody talks about three-pointers made, but could you talk about your three-point defense?
Yeah, we try to play analytically sound on both sides of the ball. So free throws number 1, at the rims number 2, obviously uncontested at the rims as much as possible, and then kick out 3s. And then on the other side of the ball, we're trying to not put them to the free throw line. So, we didn't do a great job of that, in my opinion. They got 20 free throws. We were fouling too much, particularly in the second half. We tried to take away the 3. They ended up getting 30 off, which is too many. We were trying not to let them get that off, but I did think we contested enough. They didn't shoot it great. They were 6 of 30, and then obviously we're not trying to give up shots at the rim. So, our defense is designed not to give up 3s. Sometimes we do a good job of it, sometimes we don't. But we tried to guard all their pick and rolls with just 2 guys. We saw some other teams always pulling a 3rd guy in, and Demon's so good, 6'8" point guard, catching that. We were trying not to give those up. We didn't want to give up any transition 3s, and then obviously not trying to give up penetrate, overhelp, kick. I remember we gave up one of those in the second half, and we gave up a transition one back-to-back. Wasn't real happy with that. So, but yeah, we don't want to give up 3s. So our defense did a fairly decent job at times with it, but not to the level we need to. But yeah, we try to play analytically sound basketball on both sides of the ball.
We'll excuse the student athletes at this time. Appreciate you guys. We will see you tomorrow and Saturday.
Hey, he picked BYU, that one right there. So just so you know.
All right, we'll take questions for Coach. We'll start on this side in the back.
Coach Adeshina Koike, a lot of sports talk. Congratulations on the win. The record that your team broke for most 3s was Loyola Marymount's team in 1990 in the second round against the defending national champion at that time, Michigan. That was one of the most seminal moments in NCAA tournament history with Jeff Fryer's threes and Bo Kimball shooting left-handed in honor of Hank Gathers. What does it mean to you that this team is now going to be along, the lines of that Loyola Marymount team and has surpassed them, and any memories of that game, knowing that Loyola Marymount, was kind of, intrepid in shooting all those threes that wasn't happening in the NCAA, and now you guys.
I loved watching them play. That was my freshman year in high school that year. I remember Bo Kimball shooting the left-hand free throws in honor of Hank. I loved watching them play. They got up and down. Maybe part of the reason we coach the way we coach. It's a little more fun that way. So I didn't know that they had the record in the tournament. So, I guess it's nice to beat that record. It's interesting. Michigan won it in '89, right? So when before I got into Division I was the head coach at Romulus back in Detroit. Terry Mills from Romulus, and he played on that Michigan team in '89, I believe, and they won it. I believe so. Because they won the state championship in '86. We got the only 2 state championships with Romulus. Al Wilkerson coached Terry, and then I coached some pretty good kids in 2013. So it's an interesting history, but I love that Loyola Marymount team. It's nice we were able to win. I do believe that the record for threes made in a game is held by Troy right out of Alabama with 28. We weren't getting to 28 tonight, but 25 is not bad.
We'll stay in the back row. We'll go dead in the middle there with Jeff.
Jeff Borzello, ESPN. Before you took over, Alabama had been to one Sweet 16 in 30 years. Now it's 4-5, and you're playing for the second straight Final Four on Saturday. How do you reflect on just how far the program has come in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when I got the job, we didn't have the transfer portal eligible immediately, the NIL, so it was a little harder to turn it around immediately like you can now. So we had Quinterly, who, by the way, we're in his backyard, which is great. He showed up to practice and has been hanging out with our guys, but he couldn't play. We got him to transfer. He had to sit that year. That was like the last guy who the NCAA wouldn't let play. So, you can't flip your roster like you can now. So we got saved by COVID that year. So we can say that we made the NCAA tournament every time since I've been at Alabama, because I don't think we were making it that year. I've been fortunate to have some really good recruiters on staff to get us some very good players. We were fortunate to walk into some good players. John Petty, all-time leading three-point shooter, was already there. Avery left us some pretty good talent. Herb Jones, who's been a pretty good NBA player. So those guys, Alex Reese was here. Alex hit the big 3 in our second year to send it to overtime in the Sweet 16. So, we kind of turned it in year 2, made the Sweet 16 run, and then the recruiting, Brian Hodgson, Antoine Petway, now I got Preston Murphy. I've had some of the best recruiters in the country get some really good talent to play the way we want to play, and I love playing this way. I think players want to play this way. I mean, it was fun. Like BYU plays an NBA system. We had some better talent than them tonight, but it's a lot more fun way to play basketball, if you will, and when you play this way and you show everybody, even our first year we played this way, we just didn't have as much talent to do it. And now we've been able to get the talent, and hopefully we continue to get the talent. We keep the resources where we need to and just keep making these runs. I think the Alabama fans like us making deep runs in the NCAA tournament. At least I do.
Got time for one more question. We'll go back here, row 3 with Matt.
Nate Maddow, CBS Sports. What do you and your coaches need to do to best give your team a chance to repeat on Saturday what you did here tonight? Obviously, asking to go 50% from 3 is a tall task. I'm not necessarily asking that, but to repeat it as much as you can with your habits and preparation, is that doable?
Yeah, I mean, we've had plenty of games where we haven't shot it well. I think we've been really focused on making sure we don't overdo practice. Legs are fresh. Minds are fresh while still getting the scouting report in. So, they're supposed to be off their legs. As soon as the media gets out of the locker room, let's get them back to the hotel. Let's get them off their legs. Let's get the recovery started. Tomorrow, it'll just be walk through, and then we got to be ready to go. Now, we've got to keep moving the ball. Obviously, whether it's Duke or Arizona, their defense can be a little different. They got some probably better rim protection and try to build out on us. And we've got to do a good job on the offensive side of the ball, showing them how they can get the threes. But people ask me, how many threes would you like to get off every game? Well, it kind of depends on how they guard us. If they guard us like we knew BYU was going to and stay heavy in the gaps, we'll take 50, 51. You know, if they're going to build out, I mean, we've had games where we've scored 60 plus, multiple games we've scored 50, 60 plus points in the paint too. So, you know, if Duke or Arizona, whoever ends up winning, decides they're not going to give us some threes, that's fine too. Let's get to the rim. Now, the rim protection can be a little different. We got to figure out how to deal with that a little bit because obviously, you know, I don't want to pronounce it wrong. Come on, it's like 9-8 reach. So, you know, the rim protection a little different. We're going to have to do a really good job on the offensive side of the ball. The other thing is our defense is going to have to be really good because they both have very good offenses. So I don't know that we're going to repeat 51 threes attempted, but we can have the guys ready to play the right way, in my opinion, and fresh. And, you know, if we get stops, it's a lot easier to get out in transition. You can get some threes in transition too.
All right, Coach. Thanks. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks.
Congratulations. We'll see you tomorrow and Saturday.
Appreciate it.
We'll have BYU in just a second. Okay, we have BYU up on the podium right now. We have head coach Kevin Young. We have Moet Mag, Trey Stewart, Trevin Nell, and Fuseni Traore. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach. Then we'll go to questions for the student athletes. We'll dismiss them and come back to Coach for questions. So, Coach?
Yeah, all credit goes to Nate Oats, their staff, and their players. Historic shooting performance that was hard to overcome for us. We felt like we made a little dent and started going the other way, and then they just kept it going. So, I'm not the type of person that just shoots to they shot it unbelievable, nothing we could do. Disappointed in myself and our staff that we couldn't put our players in a better position to find answers, and but they made the plays and we didn't. So kudos goes to those guys. Now, in terms of our group, just extremely proud of our guys. I just told them in the locker room, which is something we hadn't talked about literally all year until just now. I mean, this is a team that was picked 9th in the Big 12, and we're one of the last 16 teams standing. So incredibly proud of these guys. These 4 seniors led us. Each one has a remarkable story in their own right, and just really happy that I got a chance to coach not only these 4, but this entire team.
We'll take questions for the student athletes. I ask that you raise your hand. We will get a microphone to you. Please give name and affiliation before asking your question. We'll start here in row 2.
Jackson Payne with the Deseret News. Trey, Trevin, and Foose, you guys are seniors. You're lifers with the program. You've survived through a conference transition, a coaching change. What are your feelings now as your career comes to an end? And just are you guys glad you stuck around for this kind of year at BYU?
Start with Trey, and then we'll go to Trev, and then Foose.
Me and Trev were talking about how sticking it out really grows your character and it makes the wins even sweeter. We've been through a lot, looking through like you're saying, the conference change, everything. A lot of adversity in our careers, but we stayed the course. So then now how the season went, We just have an immense amount of joy and so much gratitude for how it ended. Yeah, we just have a lot of gratitude.
Yeah, I'll just echo exactly what Trey said. It's been awesome to represent BYU on my chest the last 6 years. BYU is my family. As soon as I knew Coach was getting the job, I wanted to post it just to let everybody know that I was all in. And like Trey said, it makes the wins a lot sweeter when you're with a program. You stick it out. There's a lot of roller coasters in the season, but I feel like we're kind of a catalyst to where BYU is going, and I'm excited to see the trajectory of where this program's going. But again, super grateful. This family that we have now with BYU is going to last a lifetime. Super grateful for Cougar Nation. Super grateful for my family and everything. So yeah, just a ton of gratitude for the opportunity to be able to play for this program.
Yeah, I will say the same thing. I will always be grateful for BYU. Like they changed my life forever. Like it actually was one of the best things ever happened to me. So I will always be a Cook fan.
Do we have any more questions for the student athletes? We'll go down here in row 1 on this side.
Mike Rodak with 247 Sports. Just what's going through your mind when Mark Sears is hitting those shots and they keep coming and they keep coming?
I mean, Mark Sears is a great player. We had a game plan going in, and he was able to kind of hit a lot of shots. But again, it shows their work ethic, shows how good Alabama is as a program, and it kind of went their way tonight. So it'd be awesome to hopefully play them again, but you can't at the end of the season. But hope they have tremendous luck, and congrats on their game today.
Any more questions for the student athletes? We'll come back here in row 2.
Trey, you specifically, you had kind of a interesting first 3 years in the program, didn't get a lot of playing time, and then this year really broke out, became a key contributor down the stretch. It felt like as you started to kind of play more down the stretch, BYU season turned. And so what are your feelings with how you finished this season, and what do you feel like kind of clicked with you and the coaching staff down the stretch and to kind of contribute more?
I wouldn't say click's a good word, just because, like we just talked about, staying the course. I'm just grateful for every single one of my brothers. Me and Trevin, me and Foose. I've lived with Foose my whole career. Trevin's been my brother. I even knew people came in, Mo, KY, I trusted him immediately. Even when I wasn't playing, I had a tremendous amount of respect just because of the way he approached everything. He treated me like a man, and I respect that, and all my teammates still treated me the same. So yeah, regardless of the ups and downs, obviously I'm happy with that I got a chance to end my college career playing a little bit more. But yeah, regardless of it all, I have the same relationship with all of them, regardless of results, just because they're all amazing men, they're all amazing, have amazing characters. So,
and we'll stay right there. And
then Mo, obviously you played with Rutgers to start your career. You came here for one last year at BYU. What are your thoughts on being able to finish your college career at BYU, and what does it mean to you to have had a season like this that's so memorable in program history to finish your college career?
It means a lot, making it down the stretch. As Coach said, picked 9th in the Big 12, and to finish a 3 seed in the Big 12, it's very big, and just credit to everybody, the coaches, players, and everybody that, came together as one unit, and we made it deep in the tournament. So, yeah, what's the second question, sorry? You asked?
With your college career ending at BYU.
Oh, yeah, it means everything, just be a Cougar, just the pride, and also just the environment, and the fans always engaged. It means a lot to me, and I'm glad I came in. I finished my college career at BYU.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Okay, we'll dismiss you guys. Congratulations on a great season. At this time, we will take questions for Coach Young. Once again, just raise your hand. We'll get the microphone to you. We'll start here in row 1 right here at the end.
Mike Rodak with 247 Sports. Just how did you approach game planning for Alabama and what their offense can do, and how did you adjust during the game to what they were doing?
It was a perfect storm for them, just because, I think the three-point line can be very paralyzing. We play a similar style. They're more dynamic than we are, clearly, but I know Nate and their staff, and I think we share a lot of similar philosophies. And so I think we tried to use what teams do against us defensively and have that in mind. when teams get petrified at the three-point line, you give up the rim a lot. And so, I mean, this is a team that leads all power conferences in points in the paint, 40 a night. Tonight they had 16, but then they go bananas from three. So, Sears made shots when we went under. We were trying to show a crowd. He was able to, punish those crowds early. We felt like it would be hard for them to sustain that, and so that's where you have to give them credit because they did. That's where I'm disappointed at, myself to not be able to find a solution. But some nights, man, you're trying everything and it doesn't seem to work. But that's a really good basketball team. And I mean, it was an all-time night for them. So it was felt like, it was nothing we could do at times. But just proud of the way our guys kept staying with it. And, we had our chances despite the incredible shot making.
Come here to row 2.
Jackson Payne, Deseret News. Coach, I know you're not a believer in expectations, you've said at the beginning of the year. And just kind of as your first season at BYU has come to a close, how do you feel about the results? Did you accomplish what you wanted to? And just kind of looking back now as a complete result.
Yeah, I'm just proud. Honestly, I'm just proud of the group of guys that we had in our locker room because we kind of had to get it out of the mud. We had to do it the hard way. We got off to a slow start in the Big 12, and really proud of the way our guys just stayed with it. And they never pouted or we just found a way. We found solutions. That's kind of something we talked about a lot, and we just begin to, as I say, stack day after day after day. And I told them in the locker room, that's something that not to get all philosophical, but that's something they can take with them, I hope, for the rest of their lives, where it really is just a microcosm of how to just plow through life. I mean, things aren't always going to go your way, and you just got to figure out ways to get through things, and that's what this group did this year. And sometimes when you have that attitude and you do it day after day, really good things can happen. So just happy the way we were able to make it all kind of come together towards the end.
And you've talked about stacking days as the season's gone on, and now kind of turning the page into year 2. How important is it for you to stack years? And how important is a year like you just had to kind of spring your process and what you want to accomplish in this operation at BYU going forward?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, the future at BYU is incredibly bright. I think anyone that pays attention to the sport would agree with that. This was obviously a kind of just a statement, I think, this season where it's like we're a force to be reckoned with, in the Big 12 and nationally, led by really good players that we had this year, and we'll continue to try to bring good players in. But I think it's just, I just think there's a lot of good things going on at BYU, period. Making the move to the Big 12. I mean, the football team, kind of got that party started in the last couple of years, and, we tried to carry the torch as well. And, it's exciting to think what we can build, for me and our staff being, new in this whole thing. We had a lot of learning we had to do and are still learning, obviously. But we feel like foundationally we've kind of put out a blueprint of, one, how we want to play. I think our identity is clear. And now we got to hopefully do a good job to continue to recruit to that identity and, continue to try to bring in high-end talent so we can, play with the teams who historically have played deep into this tournament. That's our goal.
Row 2 here on the end.
Sam Foster, Daily Universe. First year coaching in college. What has it been like coaching these young men like Yegor, Cannon, Elijah? They're 18 years old versus coaching professionals in the NBA. What have you learned about that?
They're just really eager, very eager to learn. And, I think as it relates to Yegor and Cannon, I mean, they're pretty experienced for being young, especially Yegor. He's played, at a high level since a young age. Cannon, too, with a lot of the Team USA stuff. But, I think I learned just, the cadence and the pace in which you can coach younger guys. You can't, maybe throw as much at them. And that was something I had to kind of scale back a little bit. But I think just the eagerness, what's similar to NBA players, I mean, players are smart at any level. If you show the players that you can help them individually and then help the team win, I mean, that's when you get the trust of the group. And, for the most part, I think we were able to do that with the majority of the team.
We'll take one more if there is one. Okay, front row here.
Talked about the similarities in systems between you and Nate, and obviously the NBA kind of background for both of you there. Just how much is Alabama kind of the version of what you want to be, what they did tonight, and why would that be so successful in college basketball going forward?
Well, first of all, I think Nate's done a good job at Alabama of, having sustained success. That's something that we're trying to do. So I have a lot of respect for him. I mean, this is hard. What they've done there is really hard, so a lot of respect to him. In terms stylistically, I mean, Nate and I have talked. I mean, it's funny because I don't know a lot of college coaches. He's probably one of the few coaches I do know pretty well. He came to training camp when I was with the Suns. We kept a relationship going. And so, we did talk a little bit leading up to the season just about, the spacing. He's one of the, I think, few teams that spaces like we do. Now, obviously, they are, like I said, they have more dynamic guard play than we had. So when you have that kind of spacing and that kind of dynamic guard play, it's really, really difficult to guard. And they're obviously heavy into their shot profile and their shot diet. That's something that we've been. I think them and us kind of had I think we were 1 and 2 in efficient shot diets, and so there's a lot of similarities. But I think for me, anyways, it just kind of validates that style of play is really hard to stop. Especially if you can recruit to it, which they've done. And all coaches are thieves, man. So I'll continue to learn from all these really good coaches and try to be better next year and continue to build our program.
Coach, we appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks,
Congratulations
everybody.
on a great season.
Thank you so much.